Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. Looks like we're having problems with Facebook again, so let me fix this. Goodness.
The glitches everywhere. Scary.
All right, let's try this again. Here we go. And voila. Did we get it? It's getting there. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Woo, what a morning.
Hola, Evelyn.
Good morning. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I actually got up during the intro. I went to go get myself more coffee, and then I realized that my little dog, who's very frail, was outside, and it's chilly. And if I left him out there for the whole show, he would have been a complete mess. So thank goodness I decided to go get more
coffee.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Happy Thursday. As Gladiator Guru said before we went live, Thrive Thursday. So good morning. And look, Milagros, we missed you on Tuesday, Milagros. We're so happy that you're here. And good morning, Evelyn. Evelyn was on before we even started.
Thank you,
How is that even possible? We saw that on the comments that Evelyn was already on YouTube before we even started. So that's pretty cool. And good morning, Gail Craft. I am the Badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, and I am coming to you from a beautiful fall day. What a start to a beautiful fall day in New England. So I'm in Southern Connecticut still, along with Gladiator Guru, and we are truly enjoying this weather. It is just spectacular outside. It's just got that chill, but boy, this coffee feels good. This is my jam. This is me. I love getting up in the morning, especially camping, having my cup of coffee, the smell of the fire pit, lighting a new fire in the morning. Oh my God, it's just fantastic. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, everybody's like, oh, it's sweater weather. And I'm thinking fluffy sock system because I prefer the real fluffy socks. Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your Gladiator Guru. You know what? Every Tuesday and Thursday, we wake up and it's like, Viva time. And it gets like, it lights the firecrackers up my ass. So I hope it does the same for you to get your day rolling, because that's the plan here. That's the purpose, to get up and actually say, okay, I got to get up. I got to do this, and then Viva time. And it's Viva time. Milagros, yeah, we did miss you. Evelyn, I'm so happy that you're always coming on. Gail, what could we say about Gail? Thank you, busy woman. And yes, so let's do it.
Gwen popped on too. Good morning, Gwen.
Gwen Lord, what are we doing with you?
I get to see Gwen in about 2 weeks from Saturday.
Oh.
2 weeks from Saturday, she'll be at my daughter's wedding.
It's always nice to have something to look forward to, right? You get up, and like I got up this morning at my alarm, and I get a message that my granddaughter has croup.
Oh.
So, everybody like strength for Savannah, my 2-year-old. So croup, whatever that is. And, but it's still a positive thing. The picture I got, she's sitting up in the hospital bed cracking up. So that's so my mini me, that little girl. Because when things go, all you got to do is laugh, right? Because you got to be grateful that you have the opportunity to be angry and then find a solution. So.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I love the fluffy socks as well. Yes.
We're grateful. See, so Gail is just living with the gratitude, right? This is gratitude month. And Gail says she's grateful to spend the time with the two of us. And we're grateful to have you here, Gail, as well as everybody else, because you all bring so much insight to the tribe. That's the whole point, is that we share stories, we share thoughts, and what you offer is just as empowering as what we offer. We just do a little bit more research most of the time, but you contribute to it because it's all a conversation. In fact, I had last night I do these free webinars twice a month. I do it the second and third Wednesdays of the month, and they're about abuse syndrome and toxic relationships and things like that. So last night I did one, and usually I have a lot of people will sign up, not a lot of people show up, so I usually reserve about 30 spots, and then usually like maybe 4 people show up or something like that. Well, last night it was very interesting. I had about 27 people register and 14 people showed, which if you know anything about online stuff, that's actually pretty good. It's very rare you get the whole everybody that signed up. But and it was an incredible conversation because they were so engaging. There was it was all women, and they were contributing to the conversation. They were sharing their stories. A couple of people actually signed up to do a free consultation with me, and it was so empowering and we had so much to share that it was supposed to be a 60-minute thing. It ended up being like an hour and a half, and almost everybody stayed on till the end because everybody was sharing their information, and everybody was gaining from it. So we cannot stress that enough with all of you. Like we truly are blessed and grateful that you all are so vocal. And sometimes we wish you were even more vocal, because there's some days where you're on there's a little bit more crickets there. But we love it because there's so much to learn from each other. And especially when we get to celebrate your wins, when we see, like Desiree, I see Desiree's on. Good morning. Desiree came from such a place, and she's in such a different place. And that's because of the growth that she's done and the work that she's done on herself. And that's the bottom line, is you have to do the work. And we're here to celebrate you when you do it. And it's so much more empowering when you do it yourself, as opposed to like give your power away. And I mean, we help people do that, but we only guide them. They still have to do the work, as we do that as coaches, as does Gail. So anyway, thank you for letting me rant on like that.
Good morning. Yes, thank you, Gwen. You know what? When you love someone and you have that very deep spiritual connection, you can feel when something's just not right. And I kept saying to Iris, something's not right with Gwen. And she says, well, I called her. And I stopped by over there, but she wasn't feeling well. So I sent all my white light and my prayers to you, Chica, so that we can hook up. But yeah, that was good. Yeah, you know what? It's all about, they say it's not what you know, it's who you know and what they can do. And I think that sometimes we need to reach out, but sometimes we just need to reach within, seek within. We need to reach. We need to grab all our strength and reach deep within, so that we can be courageous enough to pull all of the bullshit and the joy out together. And then that's how you organize it. And a lot of the times we don't do that. It's too scary. You're not ready. You don't feel the energy to have to deal with the truth. So you dress it up in a lie, and then that becomes your truth. And that's what we got to be careful with, because you know what? We like to say, many of us, and I hear it within my family a lot, I don't trust nobody. I don't trust nobody. And years ago, I used to get offended because I was always there. Now it's like, that's not my issue. But when you say, I don't trust nobody, it's because you cannot trust yourself to make the correct judgment call for yourself. And that doesn't mean you don't trust nobody, because you can't trust yourself to tell the truth, to be realistic, to be active, to be everything you want to say when it comes to trusting yourself. But when you are so quick to say you don't trust nobody around you, when you trust yourself, you never have to utter, I don't trust nobody, because you meet them where they're at. So you see, everything about Viva always points back to you. And I love sitting with people. I love debating. I love that discomfort. I love to be discomforted and to be a disruptor, because when I debate with somebody, I'm not arguing, I am learning. So I thank everybody who sat with my bullshit and debated with me, because we learned that day. Whatever it may have been, we both learned in that debate and in that disruption of our day. Because I don't want you to agree with me. By disagreeing with me, I'm learning and I'm teaching. So that's how we got to do it. Life is easy. The choices we make cause it to be difficult. Your truth is your truth until you say it out loud. And then you're like, that doesn't sound good. So the lies that you built and dressed it up as truth, they will crumble. The truth stands tall. The lies, they just always at your feet. You know what? There's so many decisions to make, but the only one stands true is to be yourself. Whether summer, spring, summer, winter, autumn, whatever, I'm getting them confused. Whatever they are, whatever weather you're standing in, stand in your true essence. If you're weak, if you're strong, if you're what? I can't think of anything other than weak and strong. It doesn't matter. Stand in it. Stand in the rain. Stand in the wind. Stand and then measure your own strength and then take it from there and grow. Because you know what? Life is beautiful. And every day you get to rise in it. And then you turn around, you look at somebody, you're like, what the fuck am I doing still here? But you're still here. You are alive enough to say that line. So
amen
what
to that.
Huh?
I said amen to that. I've been asking myself the same.
But there's nothing negative in that. You are alive and you have your senses. You can see, you can hear, you can smell, and then you can speak. Like why am I still here? And then you bring it back to you. You see how you're being strong and faithful to self, that you're asking yourself that. You're not asking the universe. You're not asking the person you're looking at like with the what the F type of thing. You're asking yourself. So show up for yourself. I guess I said all that to say, get up, get dressed, and show up for yourself. Every day that you're living, whether it's horrific, whether it's sorrowful, whether it's joyful, whether it's like, yeah, let's party, whatever it is, just be there. Be present, and then make decisions. Make wise choices. And with that, we will do
set our intention, do the mantra, and let's get to talking, even though we've been talking already. So set your intention for today. What is your purpose? Be purposeful, be intentional, whatever it is. Just don't even limit yourself to one thing, but go about your day with purpose and intention, and wrap it all up in
yes, and gratitude. Be grateful. So gratitude begins with appreciating who you are, warts and all. Absolutely.
The visual on that, Gail, is wonderful. I'm just wondering where you have the warts. That's what
You know, for those who know me know, I loved my hair. I was in love with my hair. I wrote about my hair. And then I cut it all off. And people, even my son said, well, are you going through a midlife crisis or something? Because they couldn't believe that I cut my hair. And you know what? I needed to gauge my courage and my strength. And I needed to say, okay, I'm going to go stand on this step, on this balcony by myself. Because nothing anybody says, thinks, or feels about me and my decisions matter. And that's very courageous. And that's what I did. And it's not for everybody. People don't need to cut their hair. But, you know, you always read the stories about the strength in hair. My paintings of the kick-ass bitch of menopause, they're all lethargic, laying down with their bodies contorted in a certain way, but their hair is all alive and vibrant because that's where your energy's at. And then I breathed it in and I embraced it and I said, boom, here we go. And let me tell you something, I love it. I love it. People would normally cut their hair when they're thin. And I was like, fuck it. If not now, when? And if not me, who? And what? There's no better time like the present. So my hair is getting chopped in about 2 weeks. Let's talk about that, Gail, when you call us.
How did I like? I'm telling you, it's so funny. Hold on a second.
So yeah, so then our mantra.
So here we go. Say it loud, say it proud. Ready? I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I keep it real.
All day, no doubt.
Wow, my sister got up early this morning. My sister is on the West Coast, and she got her butt up early this morning. So good for you. We're happy that you are here. We missed you on Tuesday. Let me see. Am I spelling it right? Whatever. Okay, so welcome everybody. And for those of you that popped in late, and don't forget, we love it when you share us with everybody. We would appreciate it. We would love to see the numbers go up.
You can pass us around. We don't
pass us around. Let everybody know where you are. Don't hoard us. Let's put it that way. But anyway, so let's talk about. So today, again, we're continuing with the gratitude conversation. Today is teaching it. And this is a really important conversation because it just like anything, when you know something, the way that you really keep it in your head and get to know it, or actually make it a habit, make it habitual for yourself, is to repeat and repeat and repeat. And when you can actually teach somebody what it is that you learned, that is when you know you have put it into your head. It's in there. Now, you still have to make it a habit because it's not always habitual, but it's in the memory banks. I remember when I was in chiropractic school, one of the things that we used to do is we would study on our own, then we would get together and sometimes pair off, and then we'd get together in groups. And the nice thing about the group study was that, number one, we'd have a good time. We all got along really well, but there'd always be one person that was teaching a few people and then other people that were listening. And I would, depending on the subject matter, sometimes I was a listener, sometimes I was a teacher. So sometimes I was a student. But when you can teach it to people, so if you're teaching gratitude, if you're going through your day to day, sharing what you know about gratitude, that means that you are living in gratitude because you're talking about gratitude. You're explaining to people what you're grateful for. You're explaining to the people the power of gratitude. And then that's passing that information on to them. So it's not just about you living in gratitude and saying what you're grateful for every day and waking up and writing it down and saying it at the end of the day or saying it throughout your day. It's also about expressing it to other people, expressing it by telling them that you're grateful for them, or you're grateful for a situation, or you're grateful for these specific things, but also the why you're grateful. What is it that gratitude does for you, especially when you know somebody is suffering, when you know somebody's in a bad place. And it's not that you're lecturing them like, oh, you need to do this or you should do this. We don't want to do that. It's let me tell you let me tell you what gratitude does for me. And maybe it can help you shift your day. Let me tell you about the power of gratitude. And then you share that information.
That's beautiful, because when I say those exact words to people, but I say, let me tell you about my God. Let me tell you about the miracles I've experienced. So when you believe in something, it's easy to speak about it.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So if Badass Buddha's comfortable with saying gratitude, I'm always praising Yahweh. And then there's people who not praise, but I mean, who feel comfortable enough to share words with you. And those are the messengers of those moments. So when people take the time out to speak to you about their experiences in something, like the Badass Buddha just said, with her gratitude, and without being concerned that she's going to be shut down or ridiculed, because gratitude don't put food on the table, and people are that close-minded. Then when you're speaking strength and you're being courageous enough to use your experiences and share them, do it. Because you must. That's the way of the world. You share. Every Tuesday and Thursday morning when I make my Viva comes live in 5, if anybody listens to them, I always say, share, listen, learn, and teach. And because that's what we do here at Viva. We want you to share the show because sharing is caring. And you know how they say, when you smile at a stranger in the street, you might have saved them from suicide, or you might have saved their lives or something. And that's all we ask. You know, we don't ask for any monetary appreciation. We just say share it, because you never know who's going to need to hear something from what you're writing in the comments to what we're speaking about. And so we have to listen in order to learn, right? We have to take the time out to pay attention so that we can comprehend. And when we comprehend, then we can repeat. We're so quick to repeat gossip. We're so quick to share our negative emotions and how somebody triggered us. And can you believe what so-and-so said? Why can't we share, tighten the fuck up, put your big girl panties on, shut up, and let's go for a walk? And then depending on how that individual is, or maybe how old they are, then you're like, listen, it's time that we tighten up a bit, okay? Tie your shoelaces, we're going for a walk. However you want to approach that person, because every person needs to be approached differently when you want to reach them. That's when you take really, really care and compassion when you're dealing with it. And that's what being intentionally grateful is. Why am I in this person's life right now? Why? Like the other day, my brother-in-law said something to me, and I said, I know, I'm a magnet. I'm a magnet for these types of people. All my life, Maron. It's like I'm a healer and a fixer-upper and a captain save-a-hoe, and they still keep coming. And I've years ago, I've accepted my role in this universe, but sometimes it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
Not only so much so overwhelming, but when they come to you and they know you, and then they're asking you, and then you tell them your opinion and the whole gist of the scenario that's been played in front of you, then they get upset with you. And that has also been a constant in my life. So I'm like, you know what, Father God, you bring them to me, and then what? And so that we do that. But the thing is that when we share our truths, when we share truths, and people take the time out to listen, they're learning. And then when they leave, and then they go somewhere, and because there's no coincidences in life, they're going to be surrounded by people who need to hear the message they just received, but they need to hear it from that person because it's going to flow with that person's emotions, their personal experiences, and and then they're teaching, and then it is a domino effect. So why not share something that is going to improve instead of destroy? And that's where you go from sharing all your negative feelings, or sharing, oh wow, I woke up today and I was like, oh, Maron. And then I was like, I popped up the screen, there was the badass Buddha's face, and I was like, it's gonna be a good day. Yeah. That's what you know,
well, see, that makes me feel good. It's not like my face popped up on the screen. You're like, oh God, I got to talk to this.
No, why? Because now we got something going. We're here on a mission. Let me tell you.
I'm sure there are those that feel that way.
Let me tell you something. When we come up here, we pre-plan the title of the show, and we'll throw maybe a line of what we're going to talk about. Correct, badass? Correct me if I'm wrong. Then we get up here, and the energies that the people who are on are there, the energy from each other, because we don't see each other that much, and I've been in Connecticut. And then for some reason, the conversation births itself. And we discuss several different things, but under the same umbrella. And then you guys share. And that's what life is about. So whenever you get off the show, so what if your boss asks you for an extra to rewrite something, to send the email here, to do that? Your kids, they call you from school that they're sick, run and get that child. It's not like it was 5 years ago. If your kid don't feel good, keep their ass home. So what you got to do is, that's what you got to do. Once you get up and you listen and you realize I'm not alone in this world, regardless of your issue. Your issue may be small to me, but it is a mountain to you. And that's where I have to respect and everyone around you. So share, listen, learn, and teach. And then you shall be rewarded at the end of your day, at the end of your week. Your gratitude, your intentional gratitude will be rewarded by the least most expected person. But you must carry
That's
on.
true. Yeah. And it's very rewarding when it comes from that least most unexpected person. The least most unexpected person. I love that. The thing is, it's very easy to teach people about being grateful for the good things in their lives. I mean, it's easy to be grateful for the good things in their lives. It's the people that you must teach that have a lot of bad stuff going on, and to say to them, what did you learn from that? Like, be grateful for the bad. What did you learn? And you get those individuals who are very resistant to it. How could I be grateful for this? Because it's getting you to the next level if you allow it. If you're not grateful for the bad, you're not going to learn from it. And I'm telling you, that's like, I'm very grateful for the last 3 to 4 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks have been very hard for me. They've brought up a lot of crap that I have not dealt with. And as a result, there were conversations that were had that needed to be had that had not been. And I feel better now. And now I feel like I'm letting go of a lot of things that I kept insisting on holding on to. And in the midst of it, I was in a really bad space. In the midst of it, I was pissed off, angry, very angry, but also there was a little part that was depressed and anxious. But now it's like, and I'm not saying that I won't feel that way over the next, like, there's a lot changing in the next 3 to 4 weeks for me, but I feel better. I'm in a better place now, and I'm grateful. And I'm actually verbalizing that. I'm grateful for what has happened the last 3 to 4 weeks. I've told other people that I'm grateful what has happened over the last 3 to 4 weeks. I'm grateful for just dealing with it. And I'm not going to beat myself up for how I reacted if I thought I reacted incorrectly. It is what it is. It's just like Gladiator Guru says. What do you say? It runs, comes to us to run through us. Like, the emotions come through to us to run through us. And the key is not letting those emotions come into us and just sit there I mean, they might need to for a little while, but then they run through. And that's where the gratitude piece comes in, because how could you not say, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that shit hit the fan. I'm grateful for having that horrible emotion come through me and into me and then out. The only thing you won't be grateful for is if you let it sit there and just fester. So that's where the gratitude piece, that's where people hit that wall where they just sit there in it and they don't want to. I don't have nothing to be grateful for. Are you kidding me? I need to be grateful for this, but it's your responsibility as a human. As you learn, you share your knowledge, whether it's gratitude or something else, the insight that you gain, and you're gaining it because you're working on yourself. To be able to stand up there and say, yeah, I made some really big blunders in my life, but this is what I've learned. And this is what I'm going to teach to you. And you can do with what you want with that information, but it's still, and people may say, well, I don't care what you have to say. Okay, that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. They may hear it. They may not, might not be their time. But in the end, we are being selfish if we do not share the insight that we've gained, the knowledge that we've learned, including the gratitude piece. Mm-hmm. If we keep it to ourselves, there's nothing wrong with doing your own gratitude and being your own space. But when you see the opening, when you see that individual who really could use that information, teach it to them. And all it does is it puts that information into their ear. They may not be utilizing it right now, but it will sit there. It's there. You presented it, but it also reinforces it within us. That's the thing about teaching. Teaching reinforces it within our own selves. And there is nothing greater than reinforcement of something beautiful and positive within our own selves. Good morning, Wanda. My Southern Belle is on.
Yes, you said a lot of good key points, and but I wanted to respond to Gail. Gail, yes, you said you feel a book coming from that. Absolutely,
No,
but
I said that. Did she say that?
oh,
I
I
was
don't
the one
know.
that said that.
Who was it? I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
said when she said, because this is what she said. She said, I look forward to my current transformation. I will be able to share when I have come out of this cocoon. So for those of you that don't know, Gail is working through a pathology. She starts chemo. That's what I'm saying. She's going to get ready to chop her hair in 2 weeks. And that's why, but look at what she said. And this is where we have to acknowledge this and have the gratitude pieces. I look forward to my current transformation. She's not looking at this as how awful this is going to be and blah, blah, blah. And that's why I said I feel another book coming from this, because Gail is all about life lessons. Anything that comes to her, she writes down. It's just like Gladiator Guru. So that's why I made that comment. But
Well, yeah, but I didn't see who wrote it, so that was great. But the message for Gail is, yeah, a book, but maybe a daily blog, like of moments shared, of pain, of joy, of the life, of everything, like a daily blog of it somewhere, blogging, because there's people going through there's people out there going through the same thing we're going through, but they don't know how to handle it. So we are supposed to be that anchor, that lifeboat. That's our mission in life. That's our purpose in life, is to always lift others. And we forget because we get so caught up in what we're going through. And Gail, it's listening to you when we spoke the other day, you're so not like that. And you know what, things are gonna happen. Things are gonna happen and they're gonna anger you, and then you got to take time out and walk away and say, okay, I'm happy that I just dealt with it. Because sometimes we get angry right away and we want to call someone, and then that person is available and you go to talking, and then you're like, so not only did you hear it and then you felt it, and now you're speaking it, and then someone else is throwing it back at you. So you got to be grateful when the other person couldn't respond right away, because then now you're not giving power to that negative energy. It's happening, but you know what, for every problem there's a solution, and there is a solution
might not
in
be the
every
one you
problem.
want.
There's a solution in every problem, and the thing is that it might be out of my control, and I can't flip the scenario right now because it's in someone's control, but it's totally my control to have gratitude that it's still going, it's still moving, to have gratitude and the knowing, not the belief, but the knowing that they're telling me this is how, this is why, but I know that it's just going to be like boop, and it's going to fall in my favor if it's meant to be, because it's mocked up. Whatever is mocked up will happen. Why do we need to add fuel to the fire and then complain because of the heat of the flames that we created with our bullshit insecurities?
I want to do a quick shout out to a friend of mine. Well, our friend, because she's been on the show before. Warnette Lewis is in the house. So we got Miami represented. We have like people from all over, and this is fantastic. We've got Florida, we've got California, we've got Georgia, we've got. And so I'm very happy that people are jumping on, especially people that we haven't seen in a while. Gail, right? You're still up in New Hampshire, my love, I believe. But this is also okay. So we got to just put this up here. What Gail wrote. So Gail wrote, "I've been asking for serious transformation, and I'm getting it." True that. Like you have to be careful what you ask for, because the way God and the universe works is it doesn't always give it to you exactly in what you think. It's because you've asked for it, but you weren't as clear. But it always knows what you need, and that's the beauty of this. It's the lesson that is wrapped up in that riddle, that
Yes.
is within there. And the beauty is to have that attitude with that Gail has, is to say, the natural humanness of us can question and say, why did this happen? Why am I having to go through this? I've done things right. But once you get past that why piece, because it's natural and there's nothing wrong with it, to then go into that next piece and say, well, I was asking for the transformation, and I got it. And this isn't exactly what I was expecting, but this is what is necessary. So I'm grateful for that. I'm going to be grateful for this experience because what is this going to mean for me? And and yes, Kathy, yes, Texas is in the house. And Gail says I already had about 5 lessons. Last night when I was on that workshops, one of the women spoke up and she said that she is an individual who deals with domestic violence for people. Like she's an advocate for domestic violence. She goes, and they never ever expected me to become a victim of it. And I said to her, but that's where the gratitude piece comes in because the universe, the higher powers that be wanted you to become even more skilled at your job. I said, and now that you're personally experiencing this, the beauty and the good that comes out of this is that you're aware of this. You're seeing it, you're in it, you're living it, and now you can come with much greater compassion and empathy to the individuals that are going through this and maybe better answers because now you have to get out of this because she's still in it. And now you're going to have answers to this because you are one of those, you've been in that. Prior to that, she wasn't. So it's hard sometimes to be grateful for the moments when we're in the muck, when we're really in it. That's why you have to sometimes say, I'm grateful, be reminded of the good things in your life. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful that I have my health. I'm grateful that I have a mind that can think. And there are times where you're not going to be grateful. You're going to be loathing and you're going to feel bad and it's okay to stay in that space. It's just,
but you got to identify, right?
What do you say that again?
Something very important. It's okay to feel that way, but you got to identify, what am I grateful for this? Because it's coming out the way I want it. What you just said is so powerful. Say it again. Because we are only grateful. I mean, when you hear people go on and positive and like words they picked up from different books and shit, and then you ask them something, well, I'm grateful. But are you identifying it? Are you grateful because it's something you wanted? Because people become angry and disillusioned because, well, I put it out there, and then all of a sudden it's everybody's fault. It's God's fault. It's the universe's fault. It's the witch's fault. Why they didn't get what they want. So I think it's important that we identify whether it comes to you or not. Be grateful that maybe it's because you didn't need it, and a lot of people miss out on that very important key. Like the badass Buddha was saying, sometimes you're going to get it, sometimes you're not, and you're going to deal with it. But what are you identifying? Was it a want? Or were you open to receive whatever was supposed to come to you? And see, and that's where a lot of people get fucked up in the head because they're not getting what they want, or the person didn't behave as they expected them to, or why am I here? And then all those whys come in and choke you, and you get choked up on it. And so thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think it's so important that we learn how to identify what the hell are we praying for? Why? And are we praying for it, or are we praying for acknowledge? Or are we praying or meditating and understanding as to why I feel this pull towards this? There's not about, you can't just be impulsive and say, well, I want it to be like this. I'm going to do this. And this person has to do that because I've decided to change. And this is how it's going to be. And it's such a
change people. It's all about you. And that usually knocks you in the ass because usually God's looking down going, oh, do you really now? Well, this is what's going to happen. And it's just so very funny because it is just, I mean, it's funny to use that term, God's will, the universe. And again, if you're not a godly person, you just like talking about universal intelligence and energy, it's all the same energy. It works the same way. It's like that expectation of being so egotistical to say, well, I want it this way and that person needs to do that. It doesn't work that way. We have a beautiful, and you can manipulate people to a certain level and get them to do it, but it's not going to last. There will be consequences of those actions. And I know, I love what Gail wrote. It's beautiful to have that. It's like, we can't understand why everything happens, but like you just said, there's a lesson in that. There's a lesson locked in that. And sometimes we don't know what the lesson is right in the beginning. And it's okay to be pissed off. You know, we can't be grateful every moment. Well, I'm glad I chopped my foot off, you know, that this is the greatest lesson of all. No, it's okay to be pissed off because, and listen, I'm not a religious person, and Gladiator Guru knows the Bible a hell of a lot more than I do. So, but if I recall, I do remember, if I'm remembering correctly, that when Jesus was nailed to the cross, wasn't he yelling at his father, like, why is this happening? Or there was a point where he, right, am I wrong on this, that he was questioning, why is he letting this happen? Like, why is God letting this happen?
God, why do you forsake me?
Why do you forsake? And then he let it go. And that's what we have to do, is when we get these things that we really didn't expect, like this, everything that's been happening over the last 3 to 4 weeks, for me to say, why is this all happening? And then to let it go, to say, because it has to, like it has to get you to the next level. And what you choose to do with the information is up to you. You could either choose to wallow in it and be frustrated and pissed off, or you could choose to learn from it. And it's okay to have those moments where you call. I mean, that's what I did. What's today? Thursday? On Monday, I'm talking to like a friend of mine and my friend Bernie, and I'm just like going off. Like I was just going off of how pissed off I was. And I started crying about stuff. She never hears me do that, you know, and it needed to happen. And I loved that she was there to listen to it. And she was happy to do it. And then I felt peace. And then I was grateful to have had her on the phone. I was grateful to have had the couple of people that I was able to bitch to, including Gladiator Guru. I was able to have those moments so that I could move through them, so that that emotion came into me, so that it could move through me. And then I was grateful for that experience. I was grateful for the lessons that I learned. And again, am I past that? I don't know.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. With everything, the going back and forth on the same emotion, have you figured out something that will be, that's going to prevent it? Because, you know, we use intuition and then we use discernment, right? Which is when something keeps coming up, because we're not dealing with it. It keeps coming up for us. So who is wrong when you use your intuition and then you choose wisely with it? You know, the messenger or the receiver, because you're both. You are both. You are sending signals to yourself, your mind, your spirit, your body's all connecting. So you're the messenger, and then you sit back and you receive it. And then how are you identifying what you're feeling? So is it the gratitude that, oh my God, I didn't realize that I have been mad at the world, but it was me regurgitating these same emotions while being in the same situation around the same motherfucking people.
Hallelujah.
Okay. So nobody is doing anything to you.
Right.
You are angry because you have chosen, not you, badass. You have chosen to stay somewhere because it serves a purpose, like 5 paces away from you. But then you're staying there, and then you're allowing the old memories to come back and trigger you. Now you're mad at this person because you're reminded of what they did to you, but it's all your doing.
Yes,
it is you. That person exists. That person already done what they did, and you chose to be in a position, sitting in a place where you can look over and they're in eyesight, and then you're getting mad at them because now you're being triggered of what they did a long time ago, but you allowed them to stay within eyesight.
Yes.
So who the fuck is the problem? So the more you talk about, I was this, I was that, this happened, I couldn't take it, I was back. It is you. The bottom line is we are the sole responsible party in allowing things, because like the badass Buddha just mentioned, emotions come to you to go through you. It is to remind you, wake the fuck up or sit the fuck down, right? Wait this one out, go into action, pick up your sword, or just open the door so it can go right through. It is your choice. So when we work on being intentionally grateful, you know what? Be grateful for you. for the courage that you have endured, and for the possible strength that's going to come your way when you gather your thoughts and realize that you have been organizing and saving. Get those fucking Rubbermaids out of your garage, open the lid, and just dump them in the garbage. Because obviously, whatever you have accomplished while that vermin is in your presence really hasn't done anything for you. Have you grown? No. They just served a purpose at bottom level, and it was okay, it was comfortable. So, but where are you? Because if you keep falling back on your face over the same bullshit, then it's you. It's you and it's you. And that's why I don't have many friends. Because people don't want to hear the fucking truth, but they want to come dump their shit on me. And then when I make an opinion, I'm mean, I'm rude, I don't understand why you're yelling because I'm marron. How many times do we have to go through this? And the thing is, nobody's perfect. I hurt. I have my second thoughts on stuff. I've been doubting. I've been lethargic. I prepare every day and then I get up and go nowhere. I'm dealing with my own stuff so I can speak to you what the truth is. Okay? Because it's nobody's fault. It's not whether I'm in New England or I'm in Florida or I'm in Spain. It's up to me to light those firecrackers up my ass. So yesterday I did a lot of manual and physical work and things I have to do. And then today I said, I don't really walk on the days of my show. So I said, you know what? I'm going to sit with self because that question I asked earlier to identify the gratitude and identify the anger or the letdown, or I can't believe this is happening. And because that's what I've been. I'm not angry. I might have been disappointed yesterday big time, but you know why I was disappointed? Because things didn't go how I expected them to because of what I wanted to do when the expectation date came to be.
Woo!
So I spoke to the people.
Were you awake? Did you have your coffee? Because that one took a little bit of us. Because it's true.
It's true. And what happened? So I spoke to the people in power, attorneys, this and that. And I said, listen, this is what I'm not going to do. And this is what I want to see you do. Let's make it happen. When I spoke my truth with such clarity, I didn't even feel anger that now I'm going to be delayed another 30 days, if not more. So now I got to rearrange my whole life because of the plans I made. Now I'm still trusting in God because you know what? When there's a delay in my plans that I already spoke to him about, that's because he's saying, girl, you ain't ready. Don't do it. You ain't ready right now. So you're going to go through this discomfort so that when you do receive what I have for you, you're going to know how to use it properly. And you know what? That's true. I'm going to know exactly where to go and what to do. So stop being angry with the people around you. Stop saying I don't trust nobody, bitches, because you don't trust yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? Be the best you. The one you want to criticize everybody because they're not, you be that. And then when you look at people, you're not judging them or looking down upon them because they didn't say the right thing or they did this. You can't judge somebody on what they've done in their life when it has nothing to do with you, or just because somebody hurt and wounded you does not mean that you get to judge everybody else's lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that only brings darkness to your world. This is why I'm saying it. The more you want to judge in a negative way other people's lives, you're taking that good energy from yours. So your light becomes dimmer. Then you want to blame everybody around you. It's about you. What is best for you? You know, if you want to pray to the universe, to whatever, you go right ahead. Because you got to find your comfort zone. You got to be open to roads that you didn't even know existed on the map. And when you start taking that journey down those roads and you might be scared or a little insecure, like, what the fuck am I doing here? If you're pushed, if you were driven, if you were tugged that way, go. Go. And make sure you pray for light, for clarity and direction in your life. I don't care who you pray to. Clarity, direction, and let it be well lighted. because sometimes we don't even know the journey we're supposed to be taking, and we're led to it. And then we get so filled with ourselves, with fear, with mistrust, that we don't take it. And then, like the badass Buddha said, then all the whys come in. Why is this isn't working out? I'm a good person. How are you going to judge yourself? What's your pie of percentages that you can say, I'm 85% a good person? That's not up to you to decide. You are who you are. And then you figure out where you can be better at. That's how you share your wisdom, your knowledge, right? And then people will share their knowledge. And then you put it together. And if it makes you feel warm and fuzzy, and then when you go and you teach that, then it's wisdom.
Yes.
Because you've experienced it.
That's the beauty. That's the dichotomy here. That's the yin yang. Life is forever learning. So we are students of life and we are teachers of life. And it's a beautiful mix. It's just, I mean, any true teacher, the truest and most incredible teachers out there, I'm talking people that do this for a living, are those that understand that they are not just there to regurgitate information, but they're also there to learn. That you can learn just as much from your students as you can teach your students. Yes. And that is what our purpose is in life. So if we're learning the gratitude, we're understanding why gratitude is so important, the energy shift that occurs with gratitude, why it could really, and then and be aware of the power of gratitude, what it's done for you. Why would we not want to share that? Why would we not want to teach that? When we come from an abundant mindset, you can't stay shut about it. You want to share it with people. When you come from a scarcity or lack mindset, you hoard that information. Oh, well, I just realized that I'm grateful and all this great stuff happens, but I don't want to tell anybody because I don't want them to get ahead. And it's like, but that you're missing the point. And in the end, that will turn around and
stump you
and bite you and stop you. Right. Exactly. So as you learn, teach it. If you started teaching it incorrectly because you didn't learn it properly, then admit to it, be accountable to it and say, well, I was teaching this, but I didn't really learn it 100%, but now I know. It doesn't matter. You know, new information comes in. If I think one of the biggest challenges that I've had to deal with myself is not lying to oneself and then living in your truth, walking in your truth. And I go back and forth with this lie, truth. And one thing I know about myself is I really get sidelined when people lie to themselves, but lie to me, lie about me. And it's very hurtful to me. Like I'm so hell-bent on finding the truth, understanding the truth, that sometimes I get wrong information, and when somebody gives me information and then I start teaching it to somebody and I find out it was incorrect, I get very angry because I don't like regurgitating information that's incorrect.
But who are you angry at?
Well, I'm angry at myself. I get angry at the person if they gave me the information, like if they gave me information on a situation and I found out that it was not true and I already proceeded to pass the information on. That is why my lesson has been proceed with caution, use discernment, take time in take that information in and sit with it. And do I have to send that information out and about? Do I have to teach it to somebody else? And then if I do, and it's not correct, to own it and say, I didn't realize it, but the information I provided you was incorrect. Here is the proper information. And I apologize. Take ownership, not ownership of what that person gave to me. And don't go back to them. I mean, I could go back to them and say, that was incorrect.
You couldn't because you should have researched it.
No, but sometimes even when you do, it seems to be that way. But then as time progresses, you find out. But it's about owning it and saying, I didn't know. And I apologize. I gave you the wrong information. And but that's the beauty of it, is the gratitude piece is, again, being grateful to have the strength, the courage to admit to it, to say, oh my God, I passed on wrong information. I jumped too quickly. I'm grateful that I'm courageous enough to stand up and admit when I've made a mistake, and or you know how I am about mistakes, when I made a bad choice, and tell the other parties that it was wrong, or that I provided wrong information. Or it's gratitude is, there's so many levels of gratitude, there's so many layers, and the beauty of gratitude is it just, you keep adding on to it. It's like, okay, I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful that I learned from this, and what can I do with this information? And if you're still able to communicate, be grateful that you can communicate the information, especially when you're owning it and you're using discernment and you're providing information that is helpful to people, not hindering people or manipulating people.
Yes, I think that to be filled with gratitude is to accept your errors, to accept your lack of, in other words, if you don't want to call them mistakes, to accept that you use discernment correctly, that you chose wisely, that you realize you need to cut someone out of your life. That's gratitude. That you're in tune with your sixth sense. And if you're not, stop blaming everyone around you, because you're the one who's failing your own intuition. I think that when we get angry at people, we're more angry at ourselves for the lack of that we have taught ourselves, that we have tuned into when it comes to self. Because we do have expectations. We expect the people whom we share our life with not to lie to us, not to betray us. We are the most vulnerable when we're laying in that bed, spirit to spirit with someone. We are the most vulnerable when we have allowed our children to eat the last piece of something and we go hungry just to make them eat, and then they grow up and forget that we even exist. I mean, the stories go on and on and on. And that's when you learn how to be grateful for life and to be grateful for death and to be gratitude for everything in between, whether it was good for us or not, because at the end, it was good for us. Whatever bad happens, if we still can get up and walk away from it, it's a lesson learned. And I think when we decide to let go of all the I can't believe they did that to me. I was angry that my husband died. I was angry that I finally found someone that accepted me and my full personalities, that he even named them. I was angry that there was somebody who would tell me, shut the fuck up, when my rage was spiral so out of control that I was kicking doors in the house instead of turning the knob, because that's how dangerous I was at one point. Well, that I know I am. But at one point in my life, I had no control over that rage. And I was angry that finally I just didn't have to be anything other than I was, and learn from somebody's spiritual calmness that it's okay not to be that violent little fucker that I've always been. And then he dies. So I was angry. I didn't cry. I was angry. So, but we learned that, you know what? It was a short period of time to be loved from my soul and accepted in all my ugly moments. But I'm grateful that I knew that type of love. And then it was right before it was his time to go home. So it took me a couple years to understand that gratitude. But what I'm saying is, when you come out of something, come out of it, both feet. Stop having one foot out into your future and the other one in your past, and then you feel like you're the victim.
Yeah.
Do not do that. If you're gonna move forward because you need to change everything, then drop the weight. But if you become so accustomed to it that it's sewn into the tapestry of your own existence that you want to bring it with you just a little bit so you can have a reason to feel what you feel and say what you say, then don't bring it. Then sit with self. There's still hope. But you got to understand where you are. And where you are makes you very judgy towards other people, because you're living a facade. You don't want nobody to know that you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And you want to make it seem like you got it together. So to hide that, you become judgy and accusing people of making you feel any kind of way. And then you go about accusing the wrong people, the ones that are really there for you, but you're too embarrassed of what you're doing for them to know, so you act very distant. Check yourself. Check yourself.
Preach.
Because those very people that you're mistreating are the ones that have your back to the end. And that emotion you're feeling that's making you push those people away because you're trying to hide something. What are you hiding? Obviously, it's not worth it. They're not a forever person in your life. So why are you mistreating the ones God put in your life since before your birth to be there for you? Think about that. But you said something very important. Let me tell you, yesterday I was very busy creating, doing this. I'm hustling.
Wait, before you go on, I just want to acknowledge you. That was a beautiful share, by the way. Like, that was a really beautiful moment that you shared of how you felt about your husband. I've known you now for how many years, and we talk a lot and we get very, very deep in our conversations. I've never heard you really say that, talk about the anger that you felt. And I just want to acknowledge you on that, because it was a really powerful share that you did. So
thank you. And I didn't even know it was coming. But the thing is that whether we are happy in it or not, whether we're angry in it or not, be grateful, because you got to live a season and come out on the other side that many people never even dare leave because it's comfortable. They like the pity. They like people to say, "Ay, bendito." And really, that's not living. We were all born with a purpose, and we're going to cry and we're going to hurt and we're going to bleed and we're going to lose, because nothing in this life is forever. And that's what Eric taught me. My father died before that. When Eric was diagnosed, that first day, I didn't say, "Oh my God, he has ALS, he's going to die." My first thought, mi gente, is, well, how the hell am I supposed to mourn him when I haven't even finished mourning my dad? That was my biggest fear. So let me tell you, although it hurt, although it put me through a lot of changes, I'm grateful for everything, because everything is temporary. We hold on to the pain that somebody caused us. Why? It happened. You talked about it. You cried about it. You were depressed about it. You fucking did this about it. Why are we still here? Why am I still here? Why is my body still healing so much? Like, we got to ask ourselves that. But thank you, badass. When you connect someone who really gets who you are, thank you.
Yes,
So I'm doing all this, and I came across these, and I forget how fucking awesome I am. And that's gratitude. Because I am
vulnerable moment, and now we're back.
Because and through all of my survival mode, my violence part, my shut the fuck up part, my very indifferent part with people who didn't recognize their value, and I was like, I can't deal with them, because that's what I get to me, pathetic people. So, and then I came across these, and these were things that I sold, and they're cards, postcards.
Oh, I love them.
And they're all sealed. And this is my early art. And let me tell you something. This is one of my favorites. I redid this one in very large portraits, and I love her. It's naked. It's a woman finally deciding to go out on her own, to leave the abuse, the stifling, the comfort zone she was in. And she came out naked. She didn't bring nothing with her. This is her fear and everything. She believed she wasn't worthy, and she stepped out. You see that line she's sitting on, that thin line of fear in red. But she came out, and her hands she's like this, but she stepped out naked. And she's like, fuck this shit. If I don't do it now, then when? That's what that's. It's very powerful. Look at her. Saggy titties. Love it. Look at her. Look at her. That's a repeat. Look at her. I paint her. I'm like, who the hell is she? And after my mom died, I'm like, oh my God, she resembled my mom. But I painted her before Eric died, and she has a green scarf around her. She's called the Lady of Hope. See, she put her red lipstick on, looked back, and said, fuck this shit. I don't care what's happening around me. I'm going for me. And her, she's energy. I named her something. They're inside. Her, This is a woman I created with book pages. If you look, she's created with book pages. She's an open book. Her. And this was my favorite. This was one of my first paintings, Sorrow. Why am I showing you this now? Because I looked down, I saw them, and then we were just telling a story of Eric. And it is because the gratitude I get is because I never knew that I could paint because I can't draw to save my life. And that one back there is one of my favorites. But I didn't know it until I would put Eric to sleep at night. And my only alone time was staying up to 3 or 4 in the morning. And then I was cleaning and I found this little acrylic thing, a brush, and just the canvas that you throw the tarp. And I started painting. So although this disease took away my life partner, but it also gave me so much, and my art. And I've had art shows, and people still, the other day, somebody called me in Florida. Do you still have this art? And I sent them to my niece's house. Why? Because it was a gift in the sorrow. And then I made these, and we sold them for $5. The ALS bracelets, when I had the ALS walks. And I created this, and I made each bracelet, and I sold those. So I'm like, every day I'm hustling. Why? Because that is the gift of life. In order for you to show appreciation, in order for you to realize your strengths and your skills and your awesomeness, you gotta go through the valley of darkness. And if you haven't walked that valley of darkness and you haven't reached the other side, you must pull from those moments of pain and torture and just depression, pull from them, because that's where you reach your light. That's when you know I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and lean not unto my own understanding, but on his, because if I were to lean on everything yesterday, I would have been, I just would have been arrested for sending threatening stuff to people I can't reach with my hands. So be honest with yourself. Love yourself through all the process. Be courageous enough to make changes that are for you. And then those who love you will understand why you made those changes. But do not make a change because you might upset those around you, or they may not understand. Although there are children or our loved ones, fuck them. Because if you are not for you first, then you are for nobody. So make the right changes for you. Go to that study. Do that workshop. Stand up in front of those people half-ass prepared, because once you start talking, it flows through. Go, Gail. Gail, we're with you in this fight, sister. Desiree, happy belated birthday. All of us, we must understand that we have all met because it was supposed to be. We listen to one another because there's messages in everything we say. The Badass Buddha is making a huge transition in about 4 weeks. So we have to center all our positive vibe energies, because things will go auric. They will be like, things will fall. Her big toe might get hurt. You never know. Packing and doing this and doing that. So we got to send energy her way. And you know what? And even pray for angels to protect her thought process, because it's a big change. And although we want change, getting there is so hard. So you know what? Let's have a great weekend, and let's sit with ourselves, and let's write things down, and let's recognize how fucked up we can be. Let's recognize how we're harboring so much negative and then speaking how we're so positive. That negativity is in there, but don't let it control you. Piss it out.
I'm trying. I have to go to the bathroom. So
I've been stuck on this. That's what I was telling myself yesterday. I've been stuck on this. What the fuck have I been thinking? I had great conversation with myself because I am a great listener and I'm a great speaker because I'm fucking awesome. And when you recognize how awesome you are and the things you need to do to enhance your life, you will say that without a second thought, and you will no longer laugh at me when you hear me say it, because I don't say it to be conceited. I say it because I am confident in the woman that I am today because of all the hell I had to crawl out of. So when you know you put in the work to crawl out of somewhere, you don't let nobody bend you any kind of way. So with that, I guess we went over, but I see that you
That's
had
all right.
Buddha.
That's okay. All right, look, so we are on our last week. Next week will be our last week of gratitude.
Already.
So let's make it stick. What is coming up real quickly? I have it sitting here. It is
Oh my God, Buddha, I'm sorry.
Where Are You? And it's okay. And Miracles, Magic, and Me. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. We really appreciate all the comments. And today was really lots and lots of nuggets. Re-listen, share it with your own tribe, because there was a lot of really deep conversation, not just between Gladiator Guru and I, but also within the comments. So please, we would love it if you would share it. So that's it. Have a great weekend,
thank
everyone.
you all.
Have a great weekend. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yes. And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember, you can order, because I'm all about hustling. Breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.